I'm Jen with Start With Soap, and in this video we're going to talk about dishwashing with a soap, a true soap, not a detergent. First, let's talk about why it matters what we use to wash our dishes. Well, the residue of the products that we use for dishwashing can remain on our dishware where it comes into contact with our food or drink and we ultimately ingest it. And this can be really problematic, especially for certain ingredients in dishwasher detergents. Just like we talk about detergents disrupting the integrity of our skin barrier and making it more permeable, dishwasher detergent residue on our dishware can actually have that same effect on our gut, making it more permeable. And that can cause all kinds of problems. Also, detergent-based dishwashing products tend to include all kinds of other undesirable ingredients, preservatives, fragrance, other harsh chemicals that we would never consciously choose to ingest. A lot of what I'm going to share in this video is pretty straightforward, common sense type stuff. And really the purpose is to show you how easy it is to incorporate soap into your dishwashing routine. Let's start with hand washing. We actually exclusively hand wash right now because our dishwasher, which used to be here, broke and we haven't replaced it yet. So for hand washing, it's really simple. You're just going to use the same soap that you use for hand washing. It's next to your kitchen sink. This is a foaming pump dispenser, and there are other videos about how to fill this up. So this is the exact same soap that we use for washing our hands at the kitchen sink. So you're going to use this to just wash your dishes. And when I'm washing a whole bunch of dishes like this, I'll fill up one side of my sink with hot soapy water, and I'll just put a few pumps of the hand soap into the soapy water. If I'm just washing a couple of dishes, I'll just do it right on the dishes. And so that's what I'm gonna show you. But you can imagine that if I was doing this whole load right now, that I'd be filling this up with hot soapy water and doing my hand washing that way. So I've got a scrub brush that I keep next to the sink, and just give a pump of the foaming hand soap into the bowl. And I should mention that the reason these dishes are all relatively clean right now is that we tend to scrape and give our dishes just a quick rinse throughout the day as we use dishes, so that they're not getting grime caked onto them, so that it's a lot easier at the end of the day. So that's the reason that it looks like it's clean. It actually hasn't been cleaned with soap and water yet. It's just been given a quick rinse and maybe a swirl with the scrub brush. So I've got soap in here now. And just rub it around. And then give it a rinse with hot water. And if you wanted, you could follow with a diluted vinegar rinse, either to reduce water spots on your glassware, or if you wanted a little disinfecting power, you could, especially if you're doing a whole load of dishes, you could fill up the other side of your sink with your rinsing water with just a little bit of vinegar in there. So now that I've got this soaped up, I'm gonna give it a rinse with hot water. And it's the same routine with pots and pans or larger dishes that you maybe wouldn't put in the dishwasher anyway. So like I've got this big salad bowl here that I soaked a little bit that hasn't been pre-rinsed, so this one's still a little more greasy and grimy. And when you have greasy dishes, it's gonna take a little more elbow grease to get it clean. That's kind of the trade-off when you go from using harsh chemicals for cleaning to more natural products. They tend to require maybe a little more elbow grease or a little more time to get clean. So this salad bowl is pretty greasy because it was used for salad that had an oil-based salad dressing. So I'm gonna wash it with soap and water, and if I don't feel like I've gotten all that grease out of there, I might use a little bit of baking soda. So again, I'm just going to add some soap from my foaming hand dispenser, take a scrub brush, give it a good scrub. So actually this cleaned up just fine. There's no greasy residue left. I'm gonna show you what I might do if I had something that wasn't cleaning up as well as I liked with soap and water. And I'm gonna grab baking soda from under my kitchen sink. So I would just sprinkle a little baking soda. It really doesn't, I mean, you might need to use more if you had a bigger mess, but for what I'm doing right now, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit. Take my scrub brush, rub that around. Baking soda is an amazing cleaning agent. I do want to mention just one thing to keep in mind while you're using it, and that's that it's mildly abrasive, and so when you're using it on things like glass or maybe stainless steel, you don't want to scrub too hard. You want to keep in mind that there's the potential to etch into that surface. And so I still use it on glass and stainless steel. I just always kind of have that in mind when it comes to how hard I'm scrubbing or how much product I'm using. And sometimes if you let it dissolve into a paste before you start scrubbing, that can help. So just something to keep in mind. So anyway, for this bowl, I just gave the inside a pretty light scrub, and I'm gonna rinse it out. Okay, so this is ready to go. I'm gonna grab my dish towel, dry it off, and we'll move on to another pot. Now I'm gonna show you the real cleaning power of baking soda with my most dreaded pan. It's my egg pan. Because our egg pan always looks like this. It's got crusted on eggs. And I actually let this soak all day. As soon as I finish cooking with it at breakfast and the pan cools off, I add water to it and I just set it aside and I let it soak until I come back to it at the end of the day. So it has been soaking all day, but still the stuff gets caked on there and it's hard to get off. So my first step with a pan like this is to scrape off what I can. And we use these little plastic scrapers that came with another dishware at one point in time. And so you can get a decent amount off just by scraping. So hopefully you can see that this just... And actually this is coming off pretty well, so I'm sounding a little dramatic for saying this is my most dreaded pan, because this really isn't too bad. But sometimes it's worse than others, especially depending on what else I cooked with it. Bacon or sausage or whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna finish scraping this off, do the best I can to get what's in here off, put it in the compost, and then I'll come back and show you how I use the baking soda. Here's what it looks like after the scraping. So actually I did get a bunch off, but it's still clearly not clean. So now I take my scrub brush and I scrub what I can off. And this definitely isn't gonna get everything, but it does just get some of the bigger chunks off that I couldn't scrape off of the side. Okay, so here's what we've got after scraping and a light scrub. So got a lot of the grime off, but it's clearly not clean. There's still a lot left. I'm sure that you can see that. So here's where the baking soda comes in. So I'm gonna sprinkle some in the bottom. And I'm using a fair amount here, more than I did in the salad bowl, because this is actually pretty grimy. So I don't know, maybe a half of a tablespoon or so, but I never measure, I just kind of sprinkle it in. And then you're gonna make a paste with this. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can add water and swirl it around to coat all the edges, because a lot of the grime is all the way up to here. So you'll need to swirl to get the paste up there. You can also, but that also makes the paste relatively thin. So it's easy, but it might not be enough depending on how stubborn your gunk is. You can also use your scrub brush to, and since there's water in here already, it's kind of making a paste as I go. So you can use your scrub brush and kind of get it around like that. And maybe add a little more water if you need to. So this is actually more of like kind of clumps as opposed to a paste, so I'm gonna add just a little more water. Okay, so you can see that this is now turning into a paste. And baking soda can be pretty drying on your hands, so just keep that in mind if you were gonna use your hands to swirl your paste around instead, it might dry out your hands. So a scrub brush or a washcloth or whatever. So now I just set this aside while I do the rest of my dishes. And I let it soak. And because we eat eggs so often and I clean so many egg pans, I know that one iteration of the baking soda paste is going to be enough. If I have something that's really stubborn, baked on grease, grime, whatever, like something burnt in the oven or on the stove, it might take a couple of iterations of the baking soda paste. So I'd let it sit for a while I do the rest of the dishes. rinse it, see what's left, maybe do another baking soda paste, and then maybe even let it sit overnight if I'm not still doing things in the kitchen, and come back to it in the morning. When you let it sit overnight, the baking soda paste will start to dry out and that baking soda will become really gritty. And so again, a baking soda is mildly abrasive, and you just want to be mindful that if you're using it on something like stainless steel or glass, that you add some more water and you start with a gentle scrubbing before you really get in there scraping hard, because you might etch the surface of your pots and pans. Now let's touch on washing dishes with a dishwasher. You still want to pre-rinse them. You don't want to put gunky dishes into your dishwasher because you're not going to get the results you want. So this stack of pre-rinsed dishes, if we had a dishwasher, would be ready to go. Even if you're using a dishwasher as your primary means of washing your dishes, you're probably still going to end up using your hand soap dispenser and a scrub brush, and maybe even baking soda to get the gunk off of your dishes before they go in the dishwasher. Once your dishes are in the dishwasher, you're going to add a scoop of dishwasher product. And there's a dishwasher product that I recommend that's only citric acid, baking soda, sodium percarbonate, and washing soda. And a number of family and friends use this product and are really happy with its performance. So, and there's a link to that product on my website. So you put a scoop in, and if you want, you can add some distilled white vinegar to the rinse aid compartment, or you can fill up a shallow bowl and set it upright in your top rack, and that vinegar will kind of splash around during the dishwasher cycle. And that'll help reduce water spots if that's something that is important to you. And really that's it for the dishwasher. So it's pretty simple and probably very comparable to your current dishwasher routine. That's all I have on washing dishes for now. I hope this was helpful, and follow along with my other videos to learn how you can incorporate soap, a true soap, not a detergent, in other aspects of your daily living.